Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. I am Gary Godsoe, and welcome to Velocity Online Racing's coverage of Round 5, the penultimate round of Season 2 of the Global IndyCar Challenge. The field is under the control of Julian Altena, but they gotta wait, all the way down the back stretch now, the old front stretch. And now we're gonna go 3 wide, 2 wide. Here we go, and Liam O'Sullivan to the inside of Julian, going through the dog leg, and he got a good jump on his teammate, and he's gonna lead going into turn 1.
He's not hanging about, is he? He knows he needs to get the work done, starting third on the grid, and made no slouch of it whatsoever. What a start from Liam O'Sullivan, but here comes Altena. He's going to go back up the inside, and I believe we are going to see a lot more of this for the next 156 laps. They've already built what seems to be a 5-6 length gap over Armand Lal, but O'Sullivan's not going to let this one slide, is he? These two are going for the championship. O'Sullivan's going to go around the outside. Boys, it's only lap number 2. We need to sort of chill out maybe a little bit. We want to see this for the rest of the race, not for the first 5.
This is the site of one of Nigel Mansell's worst IndyCar wrecks here. This is where he says he learned not to like oval racing, but to be arguable, I don't think he was really a fan of oval racing to begin with. But this is a racetrack that he really hurt himself at, and then had to kind of do a little bit of a recovery drive at his next oval race when he got to Indianapolis. Ironically, the exception of all his wins when he raced in IndyCar for those couple of seasons were on ovals, with the exception of his opening win at Surfers Paradise.
But the general trend of lap times has been maybe 1 to 2, sometimes even 3 tenths slower than the 3 or 4 rather Altena Autosport cars that are sat in front of him, as now Charpentier wants to start having a go at Vogelsang and actually loses the place. So is this potentially strategic from Vogelsang? He's going to look back up the inside. Something tells me that is not going to work. No, he's going to have to back out of that one. Takes the inside line and eventually has to settle for what is now going to be 6th place behind the number. Oh, that was a little bit close.
And that's Charpentier, yeah. And there are like 3 or 4 cars in this series that look very similar. Vogelsang in the P5 position. He has a light blue with purple on it, and then right behind him you have Gavin Gardner, who has a very similar style livery in terms of color choices. Then you go back to Charpentier, who is again black with that purple and that teal again on the car. And then you got Chris Rise, who kind of has their side-by-side a little bit purple and black on his car as well. So kind of familiar liveries out there. I don't think they're all teammates either.
The start zone's almost halfway around the final corner as well, isn't it? And as you say, Altena has control over the field, but just look at that, the field goes green. And O'Sullivan with reaction times like I don't even know what has fast reaction times these days. I was going to say a cheetah, but I mean, as fast as a cheetah runs is as quick as his reactions were, and almost, well, he did catch the front 2, completely napping, found that gap on the inside.
As Liam O'Sullivan has reached the end of the field with Charpentier, I think Charpentier might be damaged. We've seen him bounce off the wall a couple of times, and he seems to be a little down on pace now. JJ, we're looking at a couple stops to happen, and if we're going to go green flag the entire time, you absolutely cannot make a mistake on pit road.
We get a lovely view of our safety car there as we go into the final 2 corners. Is he going to come down on Julian? Oh, there's a bit of contact.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you gotta have eyes in the back of your head sometimes with these cars. They're so fast. I remember when I drove, the one black box that I always had up at all times up in the cockpit was, and now we got our leader experiencing more lap traffic again, and that's Deck. But as you gotta have that relative on and know when those leaders are coming around you, and gotta give them the extra room. And Rise again, it's tough. The only certain places you can hide here. Look at that. Look, a little bit of a brief. Yeah, there's only so many places you can hide here in a 1 mile oval, and do you go to the high side? Do you go to the low side? How do you get out of the way? And right now, Julian is also in that same boat with Rise behind him and Deck now trying to get out of the way. There's other things the driver could be doing in the cockpit that we don't know if he was doing or not. He's getting ready to go on to the longest straightaway of the racetrack. He might want to change something in the black box. He might want to glance at something in the black box. And so if he's going at a football field a second, and all of a sudden the driver in front of him says, oh, I'm going to go low and I'm going to crack the throttle and hope the driver in front of me, notices that and will go around me. If Liam's not paying attention, a football field a second is, into an attenuator in a fraction of a second. Speaking of 180 miles per hour, that's going to be pretty pedestrian considering what you were watching earlier in the week on Sunday on the International IndyCar League when they had their race at Daytona. We're only about 70 miles per hour off what they were turning at Daytona.
It's incredible how fast these cars can go around any circuit, let alone, when they're fully let loose at Daytona. And to be honest with you, that race was actually very entertaining. We didn't have any cautions. We didn't have the largest field on Sunday. I know it was Daytona without cautions. It's almost, it's almost unheard of. Liam O'Sullivan has now come into the pits on my timing screen. So Altena going 54 laps, O'Sullivan going 53, and Christensen going 52.
You're watching a car coming into the pits and a little hot there under braking. Oh, right front. Look at that right front. That is a very unhappy right front tire. That is a blown tire.
Very unhappy right front tire. That is not what you want to be seeing.
Okay, so we just see him bounce off the inside wall here. They're racing down the back stretch. I call it the front stretch, but this is the back stretch. They're already making contact through the corner, and he got to the wall as we now start green flag here at lap 71. As we spread out going through the dog leg, as it's Julian trying to battle Liam O'Sullivan, but John Christensen's right there, Martin Law to the inside.
There's a car with damage at the back of the field there. I'll try and get a closer look as to who that is, but with side by side again, I believe it's Gardner. You can see his front wing there. I think that must have been a result of some sort of chip-up, but Altena getting the lead all the way around the outside, making a very clear statement saying, you took the lead off of me at the start of this race, Mr. O'Sullivan. I'm going to get it back by going around the outside. How about that?
Gavin's going to go down a lap and now be out of contention, so something happened on that restart.
So this is a replay of the pass around the outside. O'Sullivan being pinned to the bottom of the racetrack. Julian having trust in those brand new Firestones. This is Gardner having his little incident. So this is at the back of the field, and look at that checkup. Wow. Yeah, there's nothing when you're sort of looking upon from the TV cam that we have seen this accident from a few times.
We got good
now
on the racetrack. Let's get away from the replay here. All to the inside of Liam O'Sullivan and talk about championship implications happening right here.
Yeah, this is big for the championship, isn't it? This is the championship leader and third in the championship going side by side onto the back straightaway. O'Sullivan almost looked like he 3 wide for a minute onto the back straight. O'Sullivan keeps second place away from him, but this is going to be really, really interesting. O'Sullivan has almost lost the pace that he had as we're out for a yellow.
Zang. And this is pretty much going to eliminate him from the championship. That is for sure, as he is done and he is going to retire.
And is he just going to tap the inside? Yes, he is. Look, the car's sliding. Now it goes. Bang! Outside wall. Inside wall for good measure and parks it. And we're green.
And green flag. Here's Fiolis. He's going to take a run on the outside. He's tucked back in behind. But already, look at that Altena Autosports group. They are just a horde of bees all over everyone else in the top 5.
They are scything their way through this pack, aren't they? 1, 2, 3, 4, line abreast, almost like the 4 musketeers scything back through this pack. Julian very, very, very close to the rear axle. Pim van Gastel gets to the lead and Liam follows him through. That's a must move for the number 12, and Aman Lau is now going to have 2 cars in between him and his championship rivals. He's not going to be in an ideal situation. He needs to make some...
Check this out, and the inside. Yeah, you're right, and he wants to get around that. That's all for position, so they're not going to get out of the way for him. Lau's going to go 3 wide through the corners. He will probably pick up that position as Fiolis gets shuffled up high, but Julian manages to hold off Liam on that restart. But he wanted to talk about wanting to get to the front. We talked about some of these drivers that stayed out and they were trying to pick up some track position. Well, that's what older tires get you here, is not very much.
We see Aman Lau get very close. This is extremely close, actually, to the side pod of Pim van Gastel, getting some good live coverage of his sponsors there as we look at the number 10 from the inside of the number 13 car. Whoa, that was a little bit close there. A big twitch for Pim van Gastel on the outside in the number 10.
Julian reset the purple lap during this combo of laps, and he is now pulling out to 0.6 of a second lead over Liam. So trying to put together another winning effort here.
Aman Lal, he's managed to stay with the top 3, and he's up the position now. I think this should be job done for him. This is live on your screen for position against the number 10. He's sort of struggled to get past Pim, and Pim's actually going to come back around the outside, and I think now that is going to be definitely job done. But out of the championship contenders, if you're Aman Lal, do you try and just whack on the fuel save?
You got nothing to lose at this point. You might as well go ahead and give it a shot.
It's definitely not helping him that Pim is having a cheeky look here and there, isn't it? He's sort of keeping him busy as Christensen now dives to the inside of the number 10. That is the 4th Altena Autosport car that is looking to demote the number 10 back down to 5th position. But I think you're right, Gary. If I was Aman Lal, you are the best part of 3 seconds, if we're rounding it to the nearest second, off of the leading 2. And
Lal on pit road, right when this battle we're seeing right here on our racetrack between Pim and John. This is going to move them up to 3rd, but Lal is going for the gamble, and I don't know if it was announced over their team comms, but he probably saw that in the black box. He's like, nope, I'm not going to be a victim of the undercut.
Altena follows in a lap later as well. I'm looking out the commentary window. So Altena is only just at the pit entry, almost a full lap ahead. So don't expect any crazy swaps for position.
It's a painfully slow 45 miles per hour pit road speed limit. Julian down and away. Here comes Liam. They come off the racetrack, and Liam's going to have a head full of steam, and that's the undercut. All one lap down, each one of these drivers, but battling for a top 10. And, at this point, especially after a rough season, a top 10 is a nice way to kind of round out a rough season, is getting here top 10 on a very tough bullring oval at Phoenix. We're riding with Rise. And, again, there's that line. They're trying to turn that wheel, not as much as possible. There goes Fiolis to the inside.
And he's going to look to the inside.
Here we go. He did not even want to wait, and he cut it close on exit. It looked close from my point of view. I don't know what it looks like on the camera point of view, but that's allowed Julian now to break it into another 2/10, and he's bringing it within 3/10 here with 19 to go, as he is now a lap and a half away from finishing this off and going into the final race of the season with a little bit bigger lead in the points championship. White flag out here as Julian tries to run him down in the 8/10 behind.
Yeah, he made that statement on the first lap, didn't he? 3rd to 1st on the green flag, and he's made that intense stick. He dropped to 2nd, but it looks like he's going to take the win.
And not only the win, but the points lead into Championship Wednesday here in a couple of weeks when we go to Interlagos. Your winner in the Oval and our 2nd road course win of the season, Liam O'Sullivan, winner over Julian Altena, who finishes, again, another strong finish for Julian. This is one of his good tracks, but not the finish he was really wanting today to try to gain on Liam in the championship. Aman Lal comes home 3rd, and that's a good finish otherwise, but not in the championship because Lal is 3rd, so he's really not gaining on the 2 guys he needs to gain on the most in the championship. Christensen with a good race, and in fact, a good race for the entire Altena Autosport squad. They started in the top 4, and they closed out the top 4 at the finish. Pim Van Gastel in 5th, and Fiolis in 6th, as we watch Victory Donuts, the best type of donuts, currently at the start-finish line for Liam O'Sullivan. Now let's go ahead and bring up the final results when you get time. And, of course, remember, all results are unofficial upon further review. But there you go, Liam O'Sullivan with the win, 9/10 over Julian. Liam O'Sullivan led 100 laps, so really a dominant day for Liam, other than really didn't qualify. I'm sure he didn't qualify exactly where he wanted, but that start sure made up for it. Julian in 2nd, Aman Lal 3rd, John Christensen 4th. The entire Altena Autosport squad lock out the top 4. Pim Van Gastel, best in class, so to speak, for Pim in 5th. Fiolis in 6th. Eli Sasek in 7th. Chris Rise in 8th. Mathon in 9th, and Stock in 10th. And some of those drivers back there kind of off the pace a little bit. Long days for them, but to come out of a long day with a top 10 is sure going to feel good. Going on to the next page, Charpentier, Vinci, Vogelzang, which is pretty much going to eliminate him from contention here in the championship mathematically. He is 13th, Gardner 14th, Pressey in 15th, and Deck in 16th. And that is your 16-car field here in the desert for our final oval race of the Global IndyCar Challenge.